Good afternoon. This is Ty Myers from Actify. I have with us Jim Vasello, who will be giving our demonstration later today. You'll see on the presentation here my phone number and my email address, and you can catch that at the end. I also have attached a handout of this presentation, so you can find that in the handout section on your screen. We'll take about 30 minutes here, review a few things about business for discrete manufacturers and a little demonstration, then have a question and answer period at the end, if you like. So the agenda is going to be going over some of the universal initiatives that corporations have when it comes to discrete manufacturing. It's all about products. So how can they perform faster, better, cheaper at producing their products? Next is, how do we easily and affordably access accurate 360-degree information? With the markets today, realize, especially in the automotive segment, you look at the automotive in the last 10 years, the amount of time for them to get quotes out is being cut down to less than 2 weeks. The amount of quotes has gone up fourfold in that same 10-year time period. So the amount of efforts and work and pressure has just constantly increased. So how do you get a perspective of all your information during an RFQ process, as an example? So data that's coming from your ERP system or from a PLM or spreadsheets. How do you see it in one spot and have it associated with that product content? Then using data smarter, how do you get data to come to you? So often people are searching through those various applications, searching for data, and having a vendor neutral perspective so you can easily have the agility and speed to see information, whether you're dealing with CATIA, SolidWorks, ProEngineer, SAP, Teamcenter, and so forth. So the destination, it's 360-degree part information. It's seeing all the information, but making sure that it's not a select few people in an organization that can see it, but there's a system, affordable, highly adoptable, that people can see that information and share it even to the periodic users. So what do enterprise companies do in this environment? Well, we've looked at it and we found that if we focus on the 20% in the technology realm that complements the discrete manufacturer and their existing systems, we can make 80% of the impact versus giving a completely technically deep application. So often the alternative systems out there are just too complex. They force you to change the way they operate. They're too expensive, so you don't give the solution to everybody in your organization. And the worst case is user adoption. You bought the technology for people, but you're not getting the return on your investment because people aren't going through the training. They can't recall how to use the system. It's just too complex. So Actify is addressing that in a different way. As a vendor neutral solution, we're bringing all forms of native CAD data, and we can extract the information out of those native CAD files, not only the geometry, but the GD&T, the PMI information, dimensions, do analysis on files such as curvature analysis, wall thickness analysis, and then pulling other disparate content related to every component and relating it to the component, plus relating all the files and the versions so you have a history of that data. And you can see in the center image the connection of these circles. Think of those circles as content and information that can be dynamically connected to each other, giving you the version and history over time of that data. Once you have that 360-degree view of the information, now what do you do with it? That's not getting the results. The results is getting to these business tools that help you expedite your process, increase your process efficiencies, whether we're talking about managing your gate systems such as APQP and PPAP processes, or it is getting the quoting side to expedite your response to your customers, or maybe it's handling product variations with an end item manager. So we build these custom business tools and we call them custom because every manufacturer is somewhat unique, but at least 20% different than somebody else. So why change your business to fit an application, whereas an application should fit your business? So that is what Actify has been doing. We're expanding upon that. Our business has been growing dramatically. We're widely used throughout the tier 1, tier 2 of the automotive, but we are also used in aerospace, medical devices, and white goods. So as we transition over to show you a demonstration, just want to give you a little bit of feedback here from our customer base on what they're saying. And again, you can see the same information in the handouts that are attached to this presentation. If you do have any questions at the end, you'll see my email address and my phone number. Feel free to reach out to us. Now I'm going to switch over to Jim for the demonstration.
Thanks, Ty. Can you see my screen now? Just want to verify.
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, thanks, Ty, and good morning, afternoon, and evening to everybody out there. My name is Jim Vasello, and I'd like to go through a little bit of a product demonstration here to kind of summarize and what Ty had been talking about. So what I'd like to start with is the Centro product, of course, and this is the web viewer version of Centro. So it's called SpinFire Web, and it's showing the a web version of the CAD file. This is just Google Chrome, so whatever browser is your preference. This allows you to view information via browser as long as you have access to your server where the product is installed. You have access to this information without any desktop product installed. You don't need SpinFire, you don't need the CAD system. This is purely viewing, pushing from the server to your viewer. And as you can see, this is a pretty complex file. Two-cylinder engine, some of the things that you can do with that on the fly, explode view, zoom in, and you can see pretty much all the components. So it gives you a good idea of what the assembly looks like. Now this can be viewed on a PC, it could be viewed on a laptop, on a tablet. You can actually view this on your phone. Of course, my eyes aren't good enough to view this on a phone, but it does work because it's using web technology. It is not using any download plugin that's required. So I see the assembly. I can see the assembly tree over on the side here. So this allows you to pick and choose what files you're looking at. I have access to a subset of the SpinFire functionality. As an example, I may want to come in and just get a few diameters, or maybe an edge length on some of these components. So it gives you an idea of the size of these things. Again, there's edge, there's angular, surface to surface and such. This also gives me the ability to share and collaborate information that I find necessary, that I want to share with others. We call that snapshots, but basically this is showing or collaborating whatever it is that's important for you at that time with other people who will be logging in here. So here's a snapshot of the assembly tree, and here's a snapshot of the exploded view. Again, whoever logs in can look at this. They can add comments. They can delete if they have authority. They can add their own. Here's some markups that were added. So this collaboration effort allows you to very easily access this information in a global environment and share that with others. I also have other information here that I could see, maybe any cost data associated to that, maybe the physical properties that are associated to that. I can do a quick bounding box of that component, which also shows the surface area and volume and so on. Here's the bounding box. So this is a good way to very easily access information globally in your environment, and if you want to share with others as well, that's also possible. So if I go back to what we call the catalog part view page, this is the page where information gets both automatically and manually uploaded to the database and is now viewable in this mode we call the part view page. So as you can see, we see the assembly structure over on the left-hand side. We see resources, which are all files that are currently in the database related to this product. And again, some of the things have automatically been published. the CAD file, we may create a step file, the SpinFire web file, and we can put these into different categories. You may have engineering documents, PMI data, quality, sales, supporting documentation. Anything related to this is now in the database, associated to this product, version controlled, and if there's multiple versions, you have access to whichever version you want access to, the latest being the one that's shown here. So you could check out, modify, check back in, then others can see that version, and it shows whoever had performed that update. Other information that you can have, here's the cost information that we saw on the previous screen. Maybe failure rate, maybe physical properties, whatever. These are data docs. It's a subset of a spreadsheet. So a lot of information here. There's links to different things. I may want links to the tooling, maybe link to one of the business tools. Here is the scorecard as one of the business tools that I can link to, and other things. So again, I'll move on. One of the other things that we do have in here is the duplicate part search. Basically, it's the geometric duplicate in the database, and in this case we see 6 duplicates. It's showing automatically. We can do duplicate part search, similar part search, purely based on geometry, no other attributes. So whatever's in your database, the next file that gets uploaded gets compared against, and we'll show you when you have duplicates, and then you can also do a similar part search. So if I come in here and I take a look at this, there's a similar shapes, and that will come out to this similar shape and show me all of these different things. And then I can do comparisons on attributes for these different files. So there's a lot of way to interact and obtain that 360-degree look of the files and the attributes and the data associated to all my components. Okay, so moving on to the business tools, and I just have a couple here to show. These business tools, as Ty mentioned, are unique, probably 80% compared to other customers. These are built for the customer requirements. This is just a very small subset of the different tools that are out there, and this is just called a scorecard. And this allows you to link to the SpinFire web part in the catalog that we're just looking at, and it shows all the different people involved with this, with different drop downs and so on. So I have this information now, it's in the database. I can search on it. I have other people who can log in, make modifications, and so on. And in this particular one, it goes through multiple different gates that have the different task names, the different dates associated to that, any assignees, the task status of whether it's good, bad, or in between. We have resources that you can download. Maybe there's a 3D PDF file in here, or I may want to upload additional documentation to this component. And again, once it's in here, it's in the database. The latest is available. As long as you have permission to come in here and look at this information, it is there and available. So we have different gates, the sales gate, the program award, tooling, and so on. And I'll just kind of scroll through here a little bit. And then we get down to the APQP information and the PPAP information. So all this is available to those users who have access to this and can log in. You don't necessarily need to go to the previous screen, the catalog screen. A lot of times I can get all the information shown here, and I can just kind of minimize these to get an idea of how many there are. A lot of these were created from what used to be Excel spreadsheets, because everybody knows Excel spreadsheets. So if they look familiar to that, that's exactly why. Learning curve is very small on here because people are used to this type of user interface. Although now it's not on somebody's PC, on the network drive, multiple copies and so on. It's in one location, always the latest update of that. From here, we have the task dashboard, which shows a dashboard of all the different tasks with the dates, with the status of those tasks. So it allows you to go back in time, go forward in time to see where we stand. It's a good overall view of all the different tasks, where they stand. If they've been completed, you can see there's overdue, completed, at risk, and so on. So I can go back in time to see if there were bottlenecks, and if there were, why. I can investigate why. Or I can go into the future to see if I have any upcoming bottlenecks, whether they're in human resources, whether it's in a production plant resource, whatever resources are being used, then I have the ability to reallocate to whatever other that is, whether it's a manufacturing plant, whether it's different engineers, whoever's involved in this. So it gives a good overall view of everything in progress. There's another one that I like to show is for doing quoting. Again, the format is very similar. You see, it looks like a spreadsheet. This one deals with the quote for components for manufacturing, and it gives you the production plant that you may want to use. If I want to switch that plant may have a different set of machine tools, and it's giving me a warning that that one is not available. So I need to pick one that is available for that location. So this allows me to make sure, based on your parameters for your environment and your manufacturing facilities, that I'm not quoting for something that's not even viable. Okay, and you can see there's a lot of other information, the cycle time, the volume, machine costs, and so on. As I scroll down, you see all the other things that are involved. Now, again, this is just an example. Yours most likely will be a little bit different. That's where the customization comes in. But in the background, it's using the same database that's being used by the catalog and all the data in there. And some of this information could be manually keyed in. You may want to pull this from some cost accounting system or some ERP system, or you may want to upload to the ERP system, so on, bidirectionally. We have that capability as well. So there's a lot of functionality here. And again, I want to stress that this is not just what's available. This is just a small subset of the different tools that have been already created. But each user's environment is just a little bit different. And that way we can take these and we can kind of massage them a little bit and create new ones for your environment. All the different algorithms used behind here, that would be your algorithms. Okay, these are just an example. So I can see the internal information that you may want to hide when you're printing this out and sending it to the customer. Any asset information, tooling costs and such. So this is all wrapped up in one single page, so to speak, that normally would have taken maybe multiple different documents to summarize all this information. So that's an example of the business tools. Okay. One of the other things that's on the catalog side, again, we were allowed, you have the you have the ability to download, check out, download any of these components. I may want to download the entire assembly structure, make some modifications, upload that, and then change the versioning. But there are times from within SpinFire, without coming into here, I may want to look at some of the same information. Maybe I want to look at the SpinFire file. I mean, it's been uploaded, automatically uploaded and generated. However, I may want to look at that from SpinFire. So from within SpinFire, for those of you already users, if you have Centro installed, there's a way to link to that Centro database, and then I can add a connection in the library function, just like I do folders normally, but I can link that to the Centro installation. Then I can locate maybe that same file that I was working on, that vTwin engine, and locate the components that are in there already. And I can see there's a SpinFire web, the 3D PDF, the thumbnail, and so on. Well, here's a SpinFire file. Okay, so I can click on that and I can download from the server, wherever that happens to be, locally, and then open in SpinFire. So now I have that file in SpinFire. without going into catalog, right? Because you may not want to. You may not want to go into catalog. You may not have access to it. You may not, well, let me rephrase that. You have to have access to that in order to download these things. But you may not have access maybe to the business tool, or you just don't need to go into catalog. You just want to take a look at these components and do whatever measurements you need to do within SpinFire. So if there's anybody out there that already has SpinFire and Centro, that capability is already there. If you have questions, you certainly can contact us afterwards to get some information on how to set that up. Okay, I know that went pretty quick, and this covers a lot of information. There's a lot more information there as well. And again, this was meant to be a summary of some of the information, some of the functionality that we have in our product suite.
Okay, well, thanks everybody for your time. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon.